So it is my pleasure to introduce Marla D. In today's world, we are bombarded with information and stuff. So there is clutter everywhere on our phones and computers, desktops, countertops, bedrooms and basements, closets and cupboards. We crave being free of the clutter and fantasize about being organized, but it feels impossible. Can anyone relate to that? Yeah, I know I can. Marla D is here to change that. As a professional organizer for 22 years, Marla has seen the pain. With contagious enthusiasm and stories from real clients, Marla shares her belief that living organized is a skill anyone can learn. Why bother learning this skill? Because getting organized frees you to be present for what matters most. Her clear and simple steps teach where to start, what to do, and how to keep it up. Once you learn the steps, you can master the skill of organizing and use this skill for the rest of your life. Marla is a master messenger, an international speaker, and has trained students from 9 countries. She has appeared on numerous TV, radio, and podcast programs throughout the years. She is the author of Get Organized, The Clear and Simple Way, and The Art of Letting Go, and others. If you're ready for a change, Marla will set you free of the clutter and chaos at last. Please welcome Marla D.
Hey, hey. You have no idea. You guys have no idea how excited I am. And if you don't engage with me and look a little bit excited as I talk, I might pick on you just a tad, okay? So what I'm thrilled to share with you today is part of my journey of the last 22 years. But I'm also going to share my top 10 tips for entrepreneurs, which are culled from lots of trial and error. And I'm just going to tell you right now that at your age, if anyone had told me I was going to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, I would have shot them. I would say there's no way on earth that's going to happen. So if I can be up here and if I've done this, I really believe that anybody can. I want to start with just giving you a little sneak peek into my world and telling you a couple of stories. So I want you to meet Emily London Miller. She's a fabulous portrait photographer, and she started her first business at the age of 21. She is a natural entrepreneur. And when I first met with her, her business was located in the lower level of her home. That's where she did her photography. Her office where the computer and the paper and the admin stuff was done, over there on the left, was in the laundry nook of the hall, okay? Not very conducive to supporting her as a business person. So at the end of our work together, we had moved her office down the hall to what was an empty bedroom and created a space that reflected her brand, and that would actually support her in being productive in her business, where she would want to go and sit down every day at her desk and do her work. Organizing makes a gigantic difference. Welcome to the Jensen's home. 6 people in this family. They purchased a new home about 4 years before I came. The pantry was what I see all the time, which is just a whole bunch of shelves. Couldn't possibly work for 6 people, you know, it's when 4 of those are teenagers. So we ripped out those shelves and installed the container alpha system so that all of their stuff could be practically contained and be easy to find what they need and actually return it to where it belonged. So that's just a little visual example of what I do and a little tiny bit about me before I go into my entrepreneur journey. I am the second oldest in a family of 10. And my parents didn't get married till the age of 28. And the last one was born when my mother was 43. That's kind of intense, don't you think? So there was a lot of love in our home, and there was a hell of a lot of chaos and noise. I do swear a little bit because I'm from Montana, okay? So it will just slip out. Just bear with me. And then my son, David, is 36 now. My daughter's 26. They are the joys of my life. My daughter was 3 when my business started, so she grew up learning and practicing what I'm going to be sharing with you. And then my wonderful man, Bob, my husband, we got married a little over 3 years ago and moved from Salt Lake City to Wayne County. Does anybody know Wayne County? You know how I describe Wayne County? I say in our entire county, there are no stoplights. None whatsoever. There's one stop sign in the town I live in, which is Fremont. So I moved from the big city to a little teeny tiny country town, and I love it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about you guys and get a feel for you. So many years ago, I heard a closing keynote speaker at the NAPO conference, National Association of Professional Organizers. Did you know that that even existed? No, I didn't either when I started. And this keynote speaker had spent a couple days going around talking to various people. There were about 1,000 of us. And she got up there and she said, okay, listen, people, there are two very different personalities, the entrepreneur personality and the employee personality. You can be successful no matter which one of those you are, but it is absolutely critical that you know which one you are. Would you agree with that? With what you guys have studied, there's a very distinct difference in those two different worlds. Most of us are a blend of both, but we're going to take a look just for fun. This is what's typical of a born entrepreneur personality, which if you are fantastic, if not, you might know one or more people who are. But what I want you to do is glance down through this list and just note which one of those things is you. True entrepreneurs are leaders. They are visionaries. They will envision things that nobody's even thought of before. They are incredibly hard workers with tremendous drive, very focused. They can be extremely charismatic. They turn failures into opportunities. So I'm just going to insert here probably one of my top 3 tips for entrepreneurs on your sheet that I think has kept me in business. And that's after every single client that I've worked with, every single thing that I do, including speaking here today, I do a 15-minute debrief and I write what worked, what didn't, what did I learn. It's so simple and most people don't ever do it. So a true entrepreneur personality will learn from their failures. They ask for what they need. They're not at all intimidated to do that, and they create an exit strategy. Okay, I want you to just have a number in mind before I move on. How many of those characteristics are you? And then if you could pick out what is your strongest one. So I'd love a couple people to shout out, what is your strongest characteristic in that list? Let me know. Yeah, hardworking. You have to be, right? And I mean, it's just, and you have to thrive on it, actually. Okay, the typical employee personality, very different. They just like the work to come to them. They want to show up, do work, get a paycheck. They don't want to hold the responsibility for everything. They want the routine and the structure to be there. You know, now I'm going to tell you, even though I'm a business owner, there's some of those things that I absolutely thrive on. I want structure, I want routine. Those are good things. But some people need them in order to show up in the world and make money. Okay? So which one of those things are you? And my hope is that you just get this little bit of insight into what your unique blend is. And then you don't beat yourself up if for some reason you're not as driven as another person in your life. I'm going to introduce you to my sister Sharon, and she is absolutely a true born entrepreneur. Okay, I am not. Nope, as happy as content as can be to be an employee, to have a job. I never planned on starting a business. I never planned on being an entrepreneur. I am not a born entrepreneur. I am not most of the things on that list. I am a very hard worker. And I like, you know, I'm very proud of what I create. And I liked to get jobs where I was kind of left on my own to do what needed to be done. So that's kind of where I fit in. I'm not a risk taker. I wasn't then. I'm still not. And I did not have any desire to be seen. Okay, I was always the administrative assistant in the background, taking care of things for the boss so their job went really well. That was my comfort zone. How the hell did I end up here? So, how did this happen? How did Marla get on TV? I've done a lot of things on Fresh Living, really love it. I spoke for over 14 years at the Home and Garden Show in Salt Lake City, up on a big stage. Oh my gosh, that would have petrified me when I was your age. Got to do a really fun TV segment too, actually, with Bill Gephardt, clutter clearing, organizing a little cubicle at the TV station. And the highlight, I think, of my years was going to London for APTO, the Association of Professional Declutterers and Organizers, because decluttering is a big deal over in Europe. They don't have a lot of space. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So when I was preparing for this, because I've never gotten the opportunity to do anything quite like today, and I was trying to boil it down to what happened? How did I end up in this situation? This is where I landed. There were two particular books that I'm going to tell you about that changed the course of my life. You guys probably have experienced that, where you come across a person or piece of information that literally changes your course. My sister Sharon, a lot of time spent with entrepreneurs and then discovering what my personal purpose and passion in life were. You guys look really bored. Do you know that? You look real. Are you bored or are you serious? Are you okay?
I'm serious.
You're serious. Okay.
College students, they just woke up.
It's not even noon yet, right? Okay. I have already had my caffeine, so moving on. The first book is called Clearing Your Clutter with Feng Shui. The author is Karen Kingston. She lives over in London. And in that book, she had a line: imagine how it would feel to be surrounded only by the things you use and that you love. And I want you to just take that in. Imagine how that would feel. Now, you guys might not have clutter or chaos, but you probably might have parents or relatives who have clutter and chaos in their space or in their life. When I read that, it like lit this little fire in me. And I said, I want to know what that would feel like. And at the time, I was organized, but I had 2 kids and a husband and a big home and way more stuff than we needed. And I decided that I wanted to experience that. So I started going drawer by drawer, closet by closet, room by room through our home. And within a year, I was a different person. I mean, I was changed. And then this little seed started sprouting inside me. I wonder if I could help other people do that. That would be so cool if I could help other people do that. But, it's just a tiny little seed. So then this other book comes along, The Artist's Way. Do any of you know of this book? Julia Cameron. Pretty darn cool. It's been around there a long time. The whole purpose of The Artist's Way is to discover how you create in this world. You as an individual, how do you do that? It's 12 chapters. You usually do it with a group. It goes over the course of 12 weeks, which is what I did. I still don't know why I signed up for it, because I did not think of myself as creative. I'm an organizer personality. I like things in place. I had sisters who were incredible artists and writers. I am not creative. So the group helped me to see, by going through this course, that how I create is you send Marla into a room that is a total disaster. And you let me start touching the stuff. It's called the itchy hand syndrome. Like literally, the palms of my hands start just vibrating because I want to get in there and start moving around the stuff. It's a sickness. It is. They helped me to see that going into a room like that and clutter clearing and organizing it, that's how I create in the world. That's my gift. That's my joy. Now, here's what's cool. Are you ready for this? About 2 weeks after that awareness came, I got a call. I got a call from a woman I didn't even know. And she said, I want you to come help me organize my home office. Can you do that? Where the hell did that come from? So I said, sure, I'd love to. And she said, how much do you charge? I said, $35 an hour. So it's 22 years ago, so that's pretty good money. That's the number that just came out of my brain. We made the appointment. I hung up the phone. I completely freaked out. I made a business card, and I went and did the job. And I had such a great time. Of course, now, before the job, I'm sitting outside of my car, and I'm kind of a nervous wreck because I don't know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do it. I don't know what's waiting for me. But when we finished later that day, her home office was transformed. And this was a life-changing moment. She handed me the check. She looked me in the eye, and she said, this is the best money I have ever spent. Now, how would that make you feel? So I walked out of her house. I mean, how would it feel to just get paid really good money for something that you would do for free because you love it so much? I walked down the sidewalk, and I literally felt like I was flying, and all I knew is that I wanted to do more of that. Within a year, it had turned into a full-time business, all referral-based, all people-to-people. I was the first one in the state of Utah doing this as a business. And back in those days, you guys, there was no Google. Just take that in. No Google 22 years ago. No way to find out what was going on out there. I didn't even know there was a national association until 9 months into my business. But it just kept growing because there was such a need, and I was so passionate about doing it. So that person who sent me that first call was my sister Sharon. She is absolutely a true entrepreneur. She's on business number 10 at the age of 58. She's sold businesses. She creates one, she does it, she loves it, she gets bored, she moves on, she does another one. And she's the one that throughout my time in business has gotten me out of my comfort zone. So when you see some of the highlights of my years, Sharon is behind every single one of those. And at the time, she had a feng shui business. She was owner of a feng shui training center, a feng shui shop. And so she's the one that told that woman to call me. But I also share this because it's tremendous to have people that know you, know your gifts, believe in you, and promote you, right? I mean, that's a huge part of how you get successful, is having people that do that. Okay, if I had to boil down one characteristic of mine, which I know you probably haven't experienced from me yet today, it would be my enthusiasm. So every single opportunity that has come my way, including being here today, has come from my enthusiasm for this work and for life. I love life. Scares me a lot of the time, but I love it. So I'm going to share some examples here. Highlights from my journey. So clear back in 2003, I started my business in 1999. I did my first 5-day live professional organizer training program. Once again, it was my sister. She came to me and she said, I have 6 people who are willing to pay you $2,000 each if you'll do a 5-day training because they want to start their own organizing businesses. And I resisted that for months. And finally, she just ground me down. She said, I will write your manual for you. I've already got the students for you. I will do whatever you need to do if you'll just say yes to this. See, I kind of resist things. Well, I said yes. First one happened January 2003. I fell in love with training other organizers who wanted to go out and start their own businesses. I have come to love entrepreneurship, everything about it. And that started me on a whole new track. So I have now trained organizers from 9 countries. How cool is that? That was never on my bucket list. I've had them come here to the United States, and I've gone places to train them on how to be a successful organizer and entrepreneur, because it's not easy. It takes a lot of training. I already talked about Bill Gephardt and the home and garden shows. My audiobook, this is such a fun story, you guys. Hold on a sec. This is how my audiobook came to be. I'm having breakfast one day at the Oasis restaurant up in Salt Lake City. It's a Sunday, I'm there with a couple of friends, and these other ladies come over and we're just introducing ourselves. And what do people always ask you when you meet them for the first time? What do you do, right? Well, people aren't usually prepared for what comes out of my mouth. Oh my gosh, I have the best job in the whole wide world. I love my business. I get to go into people's homes and offices and help them get through the clutter and get organized and set up systems so they can maintain it. I change people's lives. You go, oh, okay. I've said that at Starbucks more than once. What do you do? Oh my gosh, I have the best business in the whole wide world. It's called Clear and Simple. I make organizing easy for people. Well, I said this to one of the ladies who came up to introduce herself. She was affected by my enthusiasm. And she went and talked to her publisher, Gildan Media in New York, and she said, you need to talk to this girl. She's on fire about organizing, and it's kind of a hot topic, and you don't have anything in your lineup for that. And so one day I'm sitting in my office, and I get the phone call. It's the publisher. Would I be interested in a conversation? Could I put together some materials and send to him, da-da-da-da-da, get off the phone. I collapsed to the floor. I mean, I almost passed out because I was just in total shock. What? You are kidding me. So I said yes to that. It took me a year to actually create it because it was 8 CDs. It's all digital now. It is still on Amazon. It's on Audible. You can check it out. Get Organized the Clear and Simple Way. True confession. I have never listened to the whole thing. I recorded it. I did it. But if any of you have recorded something and you go back and you try and listen to your own voice, oh, it's hard. So I can honestly say I've never listened to the whole thing. I got to speak a couple of times at that same conference. The one that I got to do there that I also got to do in London was a presentation called Staying in Business, a Decade and Beyond. And now I could do 2 decades and beyond. So that was a huge, huge highlight of my life. London was a blast. It was my first trip out of the United States. I can't wait to go back. It's an amazing place. And guess who was attending that conference? I'm going to make you guess, but you're not going to guess, Russ. Guess who was attending that conference sitting 2 rows behind me? Karen Kingston, the author of Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui. So I got to go up to her, and I was like a total groupie, right? And just tell her that her book changed my life because it did, and get her to sign my little book. So I'm kind of a big believer in magic happening. Moving to the quiet countryside, I decided to kind of semi-retire. Don't tell my husband, he doesn't know that yet because it's not like I'm working less, but I'm having more fun. I got to finally create my first online course, which came out about 1.5 years ago, and a line of digital products. So now I have a virtual business. So I really have gone through many, many stages from just being in the field. I've been in hundreds of homes and offices, you guys. So I tell people nothing you could do, say, or show me would shock me or appall me because I really have seen it all. So I love my life today. It is beyond my wildest dreams. And then I'm going to kind of start to wrap down here on this piece. In my first year in business, I recognized that my clients were not wired like me. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. The things that were easy for me were really hard for them. And so I realized in my first year I needed to create some kind of language or system to teach them the skill of organizing. If I was going to be successful, if I was going to make it fun for them, and if they were going to be able to maintain that space after I left. Because it's not just organizing it, it's being able to maintain it. So I now have over 20 years of research. This is my research, so it's not the scientific world out there, to prove that only 10 to 12% of the human population on the planet Earth is born with the organizing gene. Did you know that? That means 90% don't know where to start, what to do, or how to keep it up. It means telling a child or an employee to go in there and clean up that mess is ridiculous. It'd be like telling someone to sit down and play a sonata on the piano if they've never been taught how. So there is such a thing as a born musician, there's such a thing as a born organizer, but 90% don't know how. So that's why I created the steps, that's why I created what I called a clear and simple way that takes the stress out of it because it teaches the skill. And the reason that I want to mention these steps today, you guys, is because whatever you create in the beginning can continue to unfold. You know, Steve Jobs had no idea where things were going to end up when he started, but he kept tuning in and tapping in and tapping in. And that's really at the essence of entrepreneurship, is that level of creativity. So when I created those steps clear back in the year 2000, I didn't know that that was going to be the #1 selling piece for my organizer training. That's what brought people from other countries. That was going to be why he wanted me to do the audiobook. That was going to be at the very core of everything that I created in my business. And when I created those steps, it was because I was so gall-darn frustrated that nobody would give me something like that. I looked, it wasn't out there, okay? So you never know, that frustration oftentimes leads to cool things. So there's 2 set of steps, see it now to do it, and stacks, which stands for sort, process, contain, speed up, and simplify. If you would like to find out more about those steps, you can just go to clearsimple.com/steps. There's a free little guide, and it takes people through a little project so they can experience the difference. And what I want you guys to just imagine for a minute is that those steps are oftentimes called the ABCs of organizing, because you would never expect a child to sit down and read a book if they'd never been taught the ABCs. And we can't expect ourselves or anyone else to organize if we've never been taught how. Okay, I'm going to move into talking a little bit more about you and your handout, which is the top 10 tips for entrepreneurs. Your business reflects you. Perfect. As you change and grow, it will also. Your business comes out of you. So let me see by a raise of hands, who already has a business idea? Let me know, just show me. Hi, hi, hi. So not very many of you, okay. How many of you want to have a business idea? I mean, like, why are you here? Cool, cool, cool. Any like niggling thoughts? Cool. Just shout out, why are you taking the class? Just give me words, phrases. Let me know why you're here. I'm not going to let you off the hook for this. I will start pointing to people. Tell me, why are you here? Yes? Information, because, like, why do you want information about entrepreneurship? And you're one of the ones who already has an idea, right? What is it? Mechanical engineering, so you want to develop motorcycles and you want to like take things to another level? Bring in some of the ingenuity. Perfect. Who else? Why are you here? Yes?
I would say time, because in the future I don't want to work a 9 to 5.
So you are drawn to entrepreneurship so that you don't have to go the traditional route of 9 to 5. You can create things that are passive income, which is so possible. I did do that intentionally. It's like I knew I was going to get burned out because I did. So creating other avenues for income. And there's so much opportunity for that now. Okay, why else? Why are you here? One more. Let's hear from a lady. Why are you here?
I'm here to see if entrepreneurship is something I want to do.
Perfect. I'm here because I want to see if entrepreneurship is something that you want to do. You guys have so many choices now, right? You can also have it be a blend. It can be a part of what you do. I mean, I'm quite envious at all the choices that you guys have. So let me flip through these. Tip number 1 is the one I think is most important. Be centered and present. What do I mean by that? It's on your handout. If you cannot commit 15 minutes at the beginning of the day to hang out with yourself, get centered, clear, ground, and ask what's most important for that day, forget it. Because you can't do your best work and you can't draw in all those creative ideas if you're not getting centered and present each and every day. And then throughout the day, practice being present in your interactions with people, writing an email, on the phone, doing a project. Be present. That's number 1. Number 2, having a master vision and goals. I know goals is kind of like G word now, you know, not as popular as it used to be, but I am a big believer in vision and goals. And the truth is, if you're going to have a business, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to have a really great vision for what you want. So I'm going to introduce you to a new cool system out there for this tip and the next one, because you also need to have the tools to create the vision and then bring it into today, right? It's not enough to have this grand vision. You got to learn how to now do I bring those actions into today. So there's a company out there called Full Focus. They actually have, yes, a paper planner called the Full Focus Planner. Paper planners are making a gigantic comeback, believe it or not. The reason that I love this system and this company, because I am a time management goal planner junkie, is because of their system and how well they do everything they do. And they've got a lot of information out there for free. They've got a podcast, they've got videos. So they have a system that will help you create the vision and the goals that are realistic, and then how to bring it into your day. And one of the things that they teach that I was taught many, many years ago that you can do on your smartphone or on an index card is during that time in the morning with yourself, you identify and you write down the 3 most important things for you to do that day. 3. Once again, if you can't do that, that's kind of sad. So what are the things that only you can do? What are the things that need to get done today? And what are the things that are going to move you forward? Just 3. And then you give those the highest priority in the day. Have a financial plan and use it. That's kind of obvious. But what I want to say to you guys is if you love numbers, great. Who loves numbers? I love numbers. Who loves like to put in numbers, run numbers, maybe? I was a bookkeeper also in the day. If you're going to be in business and you don't love numbers, you've got to have somebody who does and that gives you the information. So looking at the numbers each and every week, every month is absolutely essential. So that's tip number 4. You need a system for the information, for email, paper, projects, communications. I created a system just for that. It's called iRaft, Incoming Read Action File Tosh. You can actually use it for your email. I train on that. If you go to that page, you can get a simple description and an old video of me that really needs to be updated. So do not judge me if you watch that video, okay? Because I know it's old, that outlines that system. Okay. This is probably my joyful one of the top 10 tips, which is having a strong circle of support. It takes a village. You've heard that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to make a successful business. You need a coach, mentor, marketing guide, other entrepreneurs, networks, financial and legal advice, bookkeeper, accountant, creative circles, and peers. You guys, it's a fascinating, fabulous life. You gotta have a whole circle to do that with. So don't try to do it alone. Watch for and act on opportunities. You've heard me talk about that today. The universe wants you to be successful. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? It really does. If you're clear on what you want and you're willing to do the work, it's there on your side to make that happen. So opportunities will come your way, but you got to be willing to take the action. So you know when I got the first call about speaking at the home show? Because my graphic designer had told the producer there that you're not Marla, she is just fanatical about organizing. So if you're going to have a speaker, you need to call her. How long do you think it took for me to call him back? How long would it take you to call him back if you got that call? We want you to go and speak up on stage at the home show about your business. How long would it take you?
I love that kind of stuff. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. How long would it take you? 10 minutes. How about you? 10 minutes. Hey, it took me 30 days, you guys. 30, how pathetic is that? How sad is that? 30 days to call him back because I was so freaked out. You know, once again, I don't want to go out of my comfort zone. 30 days. It was a fabulous opportunity. Here's another fantastic tip if you don't know about this and you're interested in business at all. So the tip is to keep learning and growing. I was told, read a book every single month that your client wants you to read, that your client needs you to read. So this is now my favorite. It is a book and it is an online course, Business Made Simple. Donald Miller, author of StoryBrand. It is everything you really need to know and nothing else. And he has an online course for it now too. You pay $275 for the whole year. I can't even tell you how many times I've been through that course. It's invaluable. So Business Made Simple. Tip number 9, have systems. Here's my acronym for systems. Saves you stress, time, energy, and money. So create systems. And then tip number 10, integrity. So we have lots of research now that shows that a person will decide within 3 seconds when they meet you if they can trust you. 3 seconds, really? Hopefully you guys trust me up here. And it's proven that your clients are going to buy from people that they love, like, and trust. Okay? So, you know what that means. I'm just telling you that's how important it is. Here's some more fun stuff for you guys. So on clearsimple.com/resources, and these links are on the handout that I gave you. So on the back of the top 10 tips, you're going to see these URLs that I'm mentioning. So really easy. If you want to snag a picture or write it down and hand that piece of paper back to me, I'm fine with that, you know, because otherwise, if you're going to just toss it in the garbage, go ahead and give it back to me. So on this one page, I have put all of the information, the tools, and the experts that I like the most. So check that out. And then another fun resource on my website, clearsimple.com/areas. You can get free guides to help with other areas. So the office, the garage, the bedroom, the paper, you can get them there. Okay, here's what I'd like to challenge you to do. If you're at all interested in experiencing the Clear and Simple way, or if anyone in your life would be helped by this, go to clearsimple.com/steps, download a free guide, pick a small project, try doing it, see if it's different for you, and if you email me, you get a prize. So for those of you who are kind of container junkies like myself, it's kind of fun to have a room mostly with men. I don't know if any of you are container junkies, but what I'll give you is our most popular ebook, which is our favorite containers. all our favorites, where we get them, how we use them. Okay, I'm hoping that even though you guys came here and you're not really awake yet, you're looking a little more awake than when I started, that you got a little bit of inspiration that it's possible, because I promise you, if Marla D can go from no desire or interest in being a business owner to 22 years later with some amazing experiences beyond anything I ever imagined, you can too. You know, by using all the resources that you've got. I'm also hoping that maybe you got a little bit of insight into yourself today, a little more awareness of whether or not this is something you would be interested in, and then maybe a piece of practical information. So what I'd like you to do is look at those top 10 tips and see if there's one that speaks to you. Is there one that you're willing to try out that would help you in your life right now? That's my hope. Thanks, you guys. Turn it back over to these guys. Thank you so much.
So we do have a
Question? Okay, questions.
You said you've seen it all. What is like one of the worst situations that you...
What is one of the worst situations I've seen? So I do not work with hoarders. Everybody always asks that. Do you work with hoarders? Hoarders is a specialty. So it'd be like asking a heart doctor to do dentistry. Okay, so I don't do that, but I have seen it. So I've seen the spaces where you cannot walk through the space. So I've had a client hire me because she was going to have major surgery and she couldn't get from her bedroom to her bathroom. But here's a fun one. A retired judge in the military, we spent 3 weeks just sorting the paper. I mean, sorting the boxes and boxes of paper that woman had. We found money, the highest check for over $23,000. So usually every job I've ever done, we always find money. We find cash, we find money. People didn't know what was there. It's kind of amazing. What's another question? You guys gotta have some questions. Did you guys know that this industry existed? Yes.
What would you say the hardest part of your job is?
Oh, that's such a darn good question. Darn. The hardest part of my job is that I can't do it all. So not only I'm with my natural personality and being a really hard worker and being pretty darn organized, I still think that I can do it all. So relying on other people, like having a team of support. My virtual assistant lives up in Canada, and I can't imagine life without her. But I had to go through a lot of pain before I was willing to reach out and actually create a team. That's the hardest part. And email. Email is my clutter. Email. Like, oh my gosh. I look forward to the day that I'm truly, truly retired and I don't have email clutter. Is that helpful? One more question? Yes?
How do you deal with messy people in your life?
How do I deal with messy people in my life? And you know, the first question I'm usually always asked when I speak to just an everyday kind of audience is, what do you do if you're married to? And it's always the opposite. So you've got the neat person with the messy person, right? It's just how nature works. Acceptance, for sure. But I can say, you know, I met Bob 10 years ago, and part of my dating was I knew I had to be with a partner who did not have clutter, who wanted a certain kind of home environment. But my son is ADD mixed with Asperger's. So part of that personality is they like everything on the floor. They need to see it. So he was very, very messy. And my daughter's an artist and creator. She used to collect everything. And I was really worried about it. but she read an amazing book, Everything That Remains by the Minimalists. Check it out. Reading that book changed her life. She's now minimalist at the age of 26. So I accept and then I teach. I teach how, and that's pretty life-changing. Thank you. Is that our time? You guys are great. Have an awesome day.
Thank you so much.
Go work wonders in the world because you can.